Welcome to the Teach Joyfully podcast, where we talk about all things elementary teaching with some mom stuff thrown in. I'm Lisa Burns, a teacher success coach, veteran elementary teacher, and mom of 5. I'll be your host. Thanks for joining me today. So I have a question for you. Do you stress over parent-teacher conferences? Well, you're not alone. There's so much to prep and keep track of in the midst of your regular teaching. And then there's the minefield of helping families understand their child's strengths and weaknesses honestly with great compassion. It's a lot, especially in a meager 10 to 15 minutes of time per family. So this is the time of year where we all start feeling a little frayed around the edges, a little overwhelmed, a little exhausted, or maybe a lot exhausted. It's the time of year where we're getting ready to head into the big holiday push, and things get really nuts and chopped up with breaks and all kinds of activities and things like that, in addition to trying to get in all of the teaching and learning that needs to happen. It can be exhausting, and looking into the distance, we can feel even more exhausted. So now is the time for a little bit of teacher self-care. Yep, I know you're saying, Lisa, I don't have time to do anything else. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't have time and you don't have the energy or the bandwidth to not take care of yourself. The reality is a little bit of self-care goes a long way. This time of year, more than ever, it's really important to set ourselves up for success. And the best way to do that is self-care. Now, I think it's always a great time to take a minute for self-care. And I know there's so much to do, but newsflash, there will always be a lot to do. It will never slow down until summer, and you don't want to be that tired, exhausted teacher who collapses at the end of the school year. Yeah, I've been there, and I'm sure you have too. It's not fun. If we learn only one thing from everything we've endured with COVID, let it be this. Take the darn trip. Stop and smell the roses. Quit working yourself to the bone all year so you can collapse over the summer. It's time to say no more often and take care of ourselves even more often. You have to take care of you because if you don't, who will? It's part of adulting. Honestly, that's what grown-ups are supposed to do. We're supposed to take care of ourselves. And if we don't take care of ourselves first, we're in no shape to take care of anybody else. We really aren't. With the holiday season sneaking up on us, now is the perfect time to take a minute for yourself. I know that seems like the worst time, but it isn't. It's the perfect time. There's going to be lots to celebrate and just as much to plan, prep, and do. So today, let's talk about the best way to get ready for all that and be ready for anything all year long. I'm sure you've heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty pot. Well, you can't. If your pot is empty, there's nothing left to pour into your cup. And if your cup is empty, you're not filling anybody else's cup because you have nothing to give, right? So let's take care of you. Not only will you be glad you did, but your students, family, and friends will also. Why? Because you'll be able to be 100% present for all those that you care about because you'll be rejuvenated. Doesn't that sound like a miracle, right? Self-care fills us up, so we have more to give and more joy in all we choose to do. Imagine that, having more joy in everything that you're choosing to do each day. Okay, I'll quit lecturing on my soapbox and I'm going to climb down right now. But this is such an important topic that I'm keeping one foot on that soapbox. Just a few toes. So here we go. Here are some of my favorite self-care ideas. Take a mental health day. You have personal days that you're allowed to take, but we never take them because we feel guilty, right? I know, because I used to do that until I realized that all those days are no good to me if I don't simply take them and enjoy them. So that used to be me, but it's not anymore. I take all of my extra days. every single year. I schedule them out throughout the year. And I plan this out before school even starts. And I know school's already started, so you can go ahead and start now. That's okay. It's never too late to plan out some self-care. Take all of your extra personal days and plan them out. Look at every month that doesn't have any extra days off and add in a 3-day weekend or a Wednesday off or whatever day of the week works for you that you would really enjoy, and mark them into your calendar so that you'll go ahead and take them. There's some months in the school year that don't have any 3-day weekends or extra breaks, and those months can get really long, especially as we get into the spring. It's really nice to have those extra days. Then, any extra days that you still have, I would go ahead and find days to schedule those as well. If you can get one extra day a month or one extra day every other month, it will make a world of difference. Maybe you want to take 2 days one month and no days the next month so you can have a 4-day weekend. Great, go ahead and do that. Whatever it is that you feel would work for you, that's the best plan. But plan them in advance. Then you can start planning your sub time. You can get sub plans ready. Once you get all that scheduling done, just go ahead and make a plan and get a subfolder ready so that you have plenty of things ready to go for those times. Create some fun things for your students to do around those times. Now, we're in the middle of fall, so planning for spring might be a little bit tricky, but you can schedule a day to plan for that in advance. So mark it on your calendar several weeks in advance that you need to plan for those days that you're going to take off so it doesn't sneak up on you, because it will. Also, you need to make a plan for when you're scheduling your sub time. Make sure you write it on your calendar so it gets done. That way you can take those days off without all the stress and headache of frantically trying to get things ready so you can leave. So that's the big one. After that, I have tons of ideas for self-care, and you probably know them all, but they're worth repeating. I love a bath. Now, maybe you're not a bath person, but I love to take a bath, so that's on the top of my list. Get a massage. Maybe you can pray, journal, or both. Those are always good self-care ideas that can even just be for 15 minutes. If you can get some self-care in every single day, and that can be just 15 minutes if that's all you've got, it makes a lot of difference in your life. If you can get an hour, even better. But take what you can, but give yourself at minimum 15 minutes every day of time to do something just for you. Really, I want you to take an hour, but I'll take 15 or 20 minutes if that's all you can give. Once you start getting that on a regular basis, maybe you can start to expand that. So next up, I would say exercise. Exercise is always one of the things on the top of my list. You can dance, walk, run, bike ride, swim, whatever it is that salts your cracker, go ahead and do it. You can take a quick dance break. That's easy. Have a little dance party, and it can take you all of 5 minutes, but it's a nice way to rejuvenate and give yourself a little bit of fun. Next, get outside. Nature is rejuvenating, even if it's just getting outside for a little bit of fresh air. Now, I know sometimes in the wintertime, if you live in a really snowy climate, and I've been there, it's hard to get outside. But you know what? Even in the midst of snow, it's nice to pop your head outside for just a few minutes, just to take a few deep breaths, and then you can go back in and warm up, and it feels so good. There's just something about fresh air that's very, very good for the soul. Now, this next one is one that I have to remind myself of sometimes because I'm a huge reader, but I read professionally a lot. And so I have to remind myself to make sure I'm reading for fun as well, because I like to read. So go find something fun to read. It could be just a few pages or even a chapter a day, but something just for you. And maybe your fun reading is a magazine. That's okay too. Whatever it is that you like. Find something fun that you like to read, or take an hour or two out in an evening or a weekend, make popcorn or your favorite snack and watch a movie or binge watch your favorite shows. Indulge in your hobbies. Set aside some regular time on your calendar just for the things that nurture your creative side. And maybe you want to start a new hobby. Maybe there's something you've always wanted to try. Well, now's the time. It's so easy to learn new things when you have YouTube. You can find almost anything you want to learn how to do online. It's a great way to start a new hobby. Now, this one might seem silly to you, but it's not to me. Get extra sleep. Take a nap or go to bed early one night. That is such a treat for me, especially when my kids were little. That was like the ultimate treat to get extra sleep. And I think most teachers don't get enough sleep. It's really hard to get ourselves to bed when there's so much to do. Or get out with a friend. We can't just work, we have to have a social life, and this is really an important piece. It can be easy to have our entire social calendar revolve around our families, but we need to widen our horizons and make sure we're getting out with friends as well. Go out for coffee, have a lunch date, go on a bike ride, go to a museum. There's so many things you can do that range from a simple cup of coffee to a major trip. So get out with friends. You can schedule a girls' trip if you need to, but make sure you're getting out. Do simple things as often as you can, and then plan something bigger once or twice a year. And don't forget the magical benefits of a little bit of pampering. Get a massage, manicure, pedicure, facial. Go have your hair cut. Get some highlights put in. Something special just for you that makes you feel fabulous. Because when we feel good about us, it's easy to be generous and loving to others. Don't like my list? Make your own. Make your own self-care list of ideas and keep it handy. Schedule something simple from your list every single day, even if it's just 15 to 20 minutes. Try to give yourself an hour, but whatever time you can get, it's better than nothing. Go for something a bit bigger at least once a month, if not once a week. There's a reason we have weekends, and you should not be spending your whole weekend working. You should be taking care of you, and that means get out there and do something you love to do just for you. Have some fun. I promise it's a game changer. And don't forget, put that self-care on your calendar. If you're not good at taking care of yourself, then schedule it. If it's on the schedule, it's more likely to happen. But if it's not, it's easy to slide right past it, give yourself a million excuses, or even just simply forget to take care of yourself, even though you planned on it. It's only a real plan if you actually have it on the schedule. And remember, taking care of you is not selfish. It's self-care, and you deserve it. You really do. Self-care doesn't have to cost you anything. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be huge or time-consuming. It can be simple things. Just take a minute and sit down and think about all the things that fuel your fire, that fire you up, that give you joy, and write them down. Once you have them all down, then you can decide what you want to do and when you want to do it. And then you're more likely to actually do it. I promise you will feel 1,000 times better, and you'll be so much more joyful in your teaching, in your family life, and in every area of your life if you are taking care of you. All right, so a quick wrap up. Plan regular days off. Use those personal days. That is the very first thing I want you to do is go and schedule them. Plan when you're going to use them. Do not end the year with a bunch of personal days still sitting there unused. Make a list of ideas. What do you love doing? What fires you up? What makes you happy? Those are the things that you need to do. Then schedule it. Schedule when you're going to take time for you. Yes, you can be spontaneous and do fun things other times, but if you don't have a plan to actually take care of yourself, you're never going to do it. And if you want to make a real commitment, you can download my self-care promise and you can sign it. Fill it out and sign it. Put it somewhere where you'll see it on a regular basis. Put it in your planner if you have to, and to remind yourself that you are going to take care of you. I can't wait to hear how it's changing your life. You can do this. Self-care is not one more chore and one more thing to do. It should be one of your number one things to do. So that's it, my teacher friends. We're out of time and I'm out of breath. Thanks so much for joining me today. You can find the show notes and the link to that self-care promise at www.hopeineducation.com/podcast. If you like today's episode, I'd love it if you'd go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen and leave a review. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. Also, you can continue the conversation online with me in my Facebook group, the Teach Joyfully Podcast Community, where elementary teachers can connect, get help, and encouragement for all kinds of education and parenting topics. You can find the show notes and links to all the resources mentioned in today's episode on my website at www.hopeineducation.com/podcast. And remember, a happy teacher is a good teacher. Until next time, teach joyfully and take care of you.